Hi everyone, my name is Olha and I'm an EducationUSA advisor. Welcome to EducationUSA Ukraine webinar on how to write effective letters of motivation and personal statements for undergraduate programs. I'm extremely pleased to welcome our guests from various US universities, and I'm passing the word to one of them, Scott.
Great, thank you, Olha. Appreciate it. We're happy to be here with you today. I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Chris, who is going to kind of do our introduction for our presentation today.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So my name is Christopher Toribio. Thank you so much for attending today's presentation. Can we have the slides show, please? Okay. All right, today's topic is the winning statement. So tips on writing a personal statement or an essay, which is a component for many universities when you're applying. So I'd like to introduce the panel. Next slide, please.
Okay, we'll start with UC. Would you introduce yourself?
Hello from New York. My name is Youssef. I'm the International Admissions Counselor here at the State University of New York at Stony Brook University. Thank you for joining us.
Minnesota State University, Mankato. Thank you so much for joining us.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rashad House with University of California, Irvine. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody. Once again, my name is Scott McClama. I am the International Recruitment Manager at Pepperdine University in Malibu, California.
Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Christopher Toribio. I represent Orange Coast College, which is a two-year community college in Costa Mesa, California, where I serve as the Manager of International Admissions. I'm also the President of the International Association for College Admissions Counseling. Thank you so much.
And hey, everyone, I'm Bobby Brannigan, the Associate Director for International Admissions at Embry, Riddle, Aeronautical University, our Daytona Beach, Florida campus.
All right, UC, why don't you tell us a little bit about the things that we're going to talk about today?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you to EducationUSA and welcome everyone. So basically today's session, we're going to be going over very important stuff related to the college essay and how can you make your statement a winning one when applying to any college in the United States. So grades and test scores may measure a lot of things, which include like GPA and other academic factors of your application. But those factors, as we know, a lot of times fail to capture the personality of the student. And the essay's role is very important in capturing this, a lot of things that we do miss in the application. So in today's session, we'll be giving you the importance and sharing some important information about the importance of the college essay, types of essays, the content and style, personal statement, and we're going to be sharing some very good examples that you can rely on that captures the importance of the college essay and the application process. So in the next slide. Okay. Great. So as we know, the essay is a very important part of the college application. The essay definitely gives the applicant a chance to demonstrate not only his or her writing style, but also to highlight an important characteristic or the ability that may not have been mentioned in any other component of the application. So the essay truly gives the students the opportunity to demonstrate their strengths and also to distinguish themselves from other applicants. So that's why we say, make yourself stand out. A great essay will definitely leave the reader with a desire to know the author, to know the student better, and would encourage an admissions committee to consider how the student might contribute to their campus, whether through community service, whether through other clubs and services, and any other thing. So it is important to speak about the elements not covered in the application, and it is also important to let your voice heard, leaving an impact and market yourself in your best capacity and tell the officer who you are beyond the grades. So with this, I'll hand it over to my colleague.
Thank you, UC. So yeah, when we're talking about some of the different elements of the essay, we like to use the different vowels in the English language, which is A, E, I, O, U. So I'm just going to go through and talk about some of those different details related to those specific things. So A is for activities. So when you're writing your essay, you definitely want to take a note of any of the activities, start talking about some of those activities, so that you can put those things into your essay, and it will be a better representation of who you are, what you've done, as well as maybe even some of your goals as well. Next one is experiences. Activities definitely is important, but any of the experiences that you've had that might be very specific to you, your school, your city, yourself. So you want to definitely make sure that you're going to be including a lot of those different things, right? So any interests, we have a soccer ball in here as for inside the eye. That might be another thing as well. You know, there's one thing to do kind of like an activity, but if you have a very vested interest, say in playing a sport, maybe even being on the debate team or anything else, those might be things, or those are definitely things that you want to take under consideration as you're brainstorming, or as you're using this system to brainstorm any of the topics for your essay. All right. Outstanding achievements. Again, speaking with the same thing, your activities, your experiences. If within any of those you have won trophies, you've won awards, you've been recognized by your peers, your teachers, anybody in the community, those are absolutely positively some things that you want to make sure that you include within your essay. And then lastly, university specific information. This one's kind of a tricky one because it's very different from the other ones, but very, very important at the same time. So if you know that you're going to, or that you're applying to a specific school, maybe with a specific purpose, you want to make sure that all of the things that you put in, all of the other vowel letters here, that you are putting it in context to that specific university. If you are applying to, say, a biology program or something like that, you want to be choosing first and foremost some of those biology, specific information, so that the person that's reading your essay is putting it in context of their university, so that it's relevant and that they understand exactly, why it is that you're applying to that specific university as well as that specific major. That's just a example. This could go many, many different ways, but this is a good thing for you to be able to brainstorm some of the topics of your essay. So we're going to go to our next slide, and we're going to also talk about some of the different things within your personal statement. So here we're going to just talk about maybe some questions that you can take under consideration when you're building, say, a personal statement, which can be a little bit different from an essay. All right. So how did you, one question is, how did you develop an interest in your chosen field? This could be a personal story. This might be, say if you're going to be a doctor or a dentist, this might be your first trip to your dentist's office. That may be something that had a dramatic effect on you. This might be, maybe something as simple as an interest that you took in one of your courses. So this is definitely something that you can take under consideration too. What are your long-term goals or interests in this chosen field? So that's definitely one thing that can help you out in formulating an answer to your personal statement. This might be, I want to develop a cure for cancer. This might be that you want to do research. You want to help to alleviate some other kind of disease or something like that. Or maybe you just want to be a doctor and you want to help people. So you want to, take under consideration this question too. Why did you choose this university? A university selection, especially in the United States, is a very personal thing. So you want to include in your personal statement all of those reasons why that university is a university that you chose to go into, that you chose to apply to, and any other factors. Going up, talking about yourself. Definitely in American culture, we like to hear about you. We like to understand all of the different facets, what makes you special, all of the things that that you would be able to contribute to that university. So do not be shy. I always tell people, do not be shy in talking about your goals, your accomplishments, your achievements, things that you're most proud of about yourself. So that we can put those things in context within your application for admission to our universities. As well as lastly, what have you done right now or in the past, in the recent past, in the direction of your chosen field? Again, if you wanted to say go into business, have you started a business ever in your life? What are your goals in doing so? What are your achievements in starting that business? So those are a couple quick things that you should definitely talk about in the brainstorming of both your personal statement and essay. So with this, I'm going to turn it over to Liz for the next segment.
Great. Thanks so much, Rashad. So when you're thinking about ideas for your personal statement, it's really important to keep in mind the content that you're writing about, as well as the style of your essay and how you're presenting yourself. So obviously, for many of you, you are writing your essays in a second or maybe third foreign language. Your essays will be written in English. And so it's always a good idea when you're writing your essays to have maybe one or two other individuals read through your essay, make sure that the content and everything is appropriate, the grammar, the style, all of that. So those are a few tips. But when you're thinking about how should I write my essay, just remember admission counselors are reading this alongside many other personal statements and many other essays. So it's important to have a unique voice that's specific to you and really tells your story about the type of student you are, and also addresses a lot of the essay prompts that my colleague was just mentioning. So when you're thinking about the content and style and how to start drafting your personal statement, the first thing, of course, is to make sure you're in line with the topic. So depending on the type of personal statement or essay, there may be specific essay prompts or topics that you need to follow. So make sure that you're not getting off topic, tie everything together, but feel free to be as creative as you want within the realm of that topic. So being creative, of course, you want to think outside of the box. Don't just use, traditional phrases or words that might be popular. Talk or speak from an active voice about yourself. So you want to make sure that you have your own voice. You don't just sound robotic or, necessarily academic. Make sure that you're being creative in how you present yourself. Oftentimes with the essays, there are word limits. So make sure that you're paying attention to what those word limits are, because you don't want to take too much time introducing yourself or introducing the topic that you don't have enough space for the body of your presentation, really the main content of what you want to talk and share about yourself. Again, the essays and the personal statements is a time to talk about you. This is your chance to brag, so don't hold back. Make sure that you are talking about yourself. If you are referencing other individuals who may have inspired you and shaped the person that you are, shaped your character, that's a good thing to talk about, but make sure that ultimately the focus is on yourself. Think of the personal statement as your interview on paper. So this is really the one chance that you have to present yourself to admission counselors, unless you're actually doing an in-person or virtual interview. So this is that time that we get a chance to know who you are as a student and what makes you a good fit for the institution. You want to have an active voice. What we mean by that is being expressive of who you are, using statements like I did this, I presented this. Making sure that focus is on yourself rather than being a passive voice. Be active in how you present yourself and the topic. Make sure that you're using spelling and grammar check. Again, since this is going to be in English, it's a really good idea to make sure that spelling and grammar is correct. And again, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have more than one person read through your essay, just for clarity, grammar, and spelling as well. Make sure that you're also being concise and clear. as well as using simple words with how you present yourself. Don't feel like you have to use huge, fancy academic words. Sometimes stating things clearly and concisely is the best way to get your point across and make it sound like yourself. Tying everything together within the topic of the personal statement or a personal or an essay, make sure that your paragraphs and the ideas and the content flow seamlessly together. So use transitional statements or transitional words between your paragraphs to make sure that the overall flow and the style of the essay is clear and it reads very easily to an admission counselor. So on the next slide, it will give a couple ideas of what types of prompts or ideas for writing about different essay topics. So oftentimes students might struggle to write about themselves, especially for the personal statement. So this is just a few ideas to generate content for your essays. So if you have a specific story that you want to tell about yourself, maybe there was a time in your life that was very transitional, a pivotal time in your life that made you the person that you are today. That is something that you would want to share within a personal statement. So you can talk about that background and your identity that maybe shaped your character, your values, your beliefs, and put you on the path of the direction that you're going now in your life. So what shaped you as a person to choose to, first of all, study at a university, study a specific program, study in the United States, talk about those characteristics and what shaped your overall identity. So if you have a pivotal moment in your life, that is something you definitely want to share within your essay topic. Also, if you have a great talent or skill, that is something that you want to share the process of how you've developed and worked towards that talent or skill, and then give examples of how you've demonstrated that talent over time. So maybe you're a musician or an athlete or an artist. Talk about the skills that you've taken to develop and how that has also shaped you as a person and given you direction in your life. Maybe you struggled in studying a foreign language and you overcame challenges to learn a second, third, or fourth language even. Talk about examples of not just easy talents, but also how you've overcome different challenges in your life. Something to think about is ultimately, what is your long-term goal? Not just at the university, but what do you want to accomplish after graduating from the university? You want to think beyond just your immediate academic goals, but what are your long-term professional goals as well? These are great things to talk about in the essay. And then finally, what are your career goals and how will the university help you meet those goals? So maybe there's specific classes that you're very interested in taking as part of your program. Maybe there's a unique internship or research opportunity. So what are the key aspects of your academic program at that university that you're most excited about and think will help you overall achieve your professional and career goals? So again, those are just a few essay ideas to generate and brainstorm during your writing process. Keep in mind, this is a process. It's not something that you should just sit down and write all at one sitting. Maybe start a few ideas, have a few drafts, and come back to it once you've let it sit for a little while, and then formulate your final essay over the course of several days. So with that, I'm going to transition it over to my colleague Scott to take us to the next slide.
Great, thank you, Liz. So you may, one question I get a lot is students wanting to know how creative they can be when writing this. And so one thing, there is room for you to be creative if it's in the right format. But it's really important for you to understand that some universities may have different expectations for their essays and their personal statements than others. So it's really important to know what kind of writing the particular institution is looking for. So some of them, like my institution that uses the Common Application, which a lot of institutions use the Common Application and use the Common App Essay. Those institutions are kind of going to be very similar in how they read those essays. and the style of the essay that you can write can be very similar across the board for those institutions that use the common application. But there may be some other institutions that are, interested just specifically in what you want to study. Some of the things that were talked about earlier, that I believe maybe Liz talked about earlier, about how knowing your field, possibly knowing your field that you want to go into, and talking about that, how you became interested in that field. They might want to know about that. So, if you ever have any questions about, what kind of things a particular university is looking for in their essay or personal statement, go ahead and reach out to the contact at that university, the admissions counselor, and just ask them. I know that it does get confusing sometimes with admissions in the United States, because it can be so different from one institution to another, how they admit students, whether they even require an essay in the first place. So it's really important to kind of know that. But for those of you that, and for some institutions like those that use the common application, some other ones, especially some of the liberal arts institutions, there is some room, and there is some time, and you have the space to be a little creative with what you're writing. And this can be very powerful. It can be something that is a real asset to you in the college admissions process, for these reasons. So some of the reasons why it's important is, and how it can help you, is it can help you kind of stand out from the rest of the essays that people are reading. And so, as someone who does admissions and reads applications and reads all of these essays and personal statements, there's a lot that we read through. We're going through sometimes 40 to 50 applications in a day, and so reading all of these essays in one day, in one work day. So it's a lot that we're going through, and so it's really to your benefit if you can make your essay kind of stand out from the rest of the other essays that we're reading. I got a question recently about, should students write about COVID? Should they write about their COVID experience, because every other student is going to be writing about that? And I was very frank with the counselor that asked me that, and said, if there was, a very if it's going to explain something, make an explanation about maybe their grades suffered because of it, or maybe they went through a family tragedy, something that was like super impactful on their life, then yeah, and go ahead and do that. Or if it's if the story was so extreme that it does really help them stand out, but otherwise, maybe look at something different to write about, was my advice to this counselor, just because we're a lot of students are going to be writing about kind of their COVID experience, and so you want to think about how can your essay stand out, and sometimes the style of the essay can help it stand out. Obviously, the content is something you want to help it stand out, but you may want to choose to do it in a creative way, to have the style kind of help it stand out. This also makes it memorable. As I mentioned, we do read through a lot of applications and a lot of essays in a given day when it's that season that we're going through. And so, it's good that yours, if the counselor can remember your essay, and so, there are still essays that I've read years ago that I still remember from students, and so if you're, again, this kind of goes along with helping yourself stand out from the rest of them, but if it's something that sticks with somebody, and that's why sometimes it's something that's really personal, and those are the ones that usually stick with me. I've been brought to tears sometimes by some of the essays that I've read, and I still remember those, and yeah, that's certainly in your favor, if you can write something that really impacts the person. I'm not, don't make stuff up, be honest, because this is all about getting to know who you are, but yeah, try to make it as memorable, and then finally, if you are creative in how you write it stylistically, it demonstrates that you have creative outside the box thinking. And so this is something that is important at a lot of our institutions. We want students who have this quality to come to our institutions. These are students that are really adaptive. They shows that they are great learners. And they are, one value of something that's really highly valued at our institutions is critical thinking. And so if you can kind of demonstrate that you have this creativity in how you're writing this essay, you can be, it kind of shows that you're this person. Now, again, if it's, make sure you're working within your bounds. If you've never kind of written something creatively before, this isn't necessarily the time to maybe start testing that out, just because the stakes are going to be so high for you. But yeah, if you are someone who likes to do a lot of different kinds of creative writing, and we'll talk about in later slides, we're going to give some examples of kinds of ways to do creative writing. But if you're someone who likes to do that, maybe you do it for school, maybe you do it on your own, this may be a place for you. But again, if you haven't done that yet, don't use this as the time to experiment. Just maybe stick a little bit kind of closer to a regular essay. But yeah, I encourage you to kind of maybe start thinking about some ways of incorporating that. Now, those are the pros. There are some cons and some things to kind of be careful about, and maybe why you wouldn't want to do something that's super creative and artistic with your personal statement. So the first is that it's not always appropriate. It's not always appropriate for the audience that you're writing for. Again, as I mentioned, different institutions have different expectations for these essays and these personal statements. And so you're really going to need to know, what are they looking for in this situation? So, if you're applying to a technical college, for example, they may not even require a personal statement or an essay. But if they do, they may want to know a little bit more about, why you want to be in this field. They may want to know a little bit more about what are your qualifications, what have you studied, and so maybe not necessarily doing it in that situation. Style versus substance. So this is, if you get too kind of hung up on the style of what you're writing, it may detract from what you're trying to say. It may detract from the substance of what you're trying to present. So, first and foremost, you need to get the information across, and you need to answer the prompt, the essay prompt. So, for the common application, for example, there are 8 different prompts that you can choose from. And so, but whatever one you choose, you need to address that question. But if you get a little too hung up on the style of the writing, trying to make it creative, there is the danger of kind of not focusing on the substance of what you're trying to do, because you're working with a limited time, from when you start writing to when you want to complete your essay and turn it in. There is a deadline. So you want to spend as much time on it as you can, and you want to make sure to have that correct balance of style and substance. Finally, whatever you write is subject to interpretation. So we are people. We're real people. It's not fed into some admissions robot machine that just scans your essay and spits out a decision. But real people are reading this, and so you may write something, be very creative, be super creative, make a lot of different analogies and allusions to things, and it really kind of makes sense to you, but it might be lost on the reader. So you want to make sure that there is some clarity there, that if you're being creative with it, that it is something that is going to be easily understood by the reader, because all of us that are reading these are going to interpret it in our own way. So just watch out for that. So it's really important for any it's really important for any writing in any context, but certainly in this one, is knowing your audience, know who you're writing for. The individual institutions that you're applying for are different. and they have different values and different things that they are looking for. And so it's kind of really important to focus on that and think about that in the process of your writing. Who are you writing for, and what are they looking for? And like I said, most institutions, admissions counselors like ourselves are readily available. We answer your emails. We'll jump on a phone call or a Zoom call with you, and happy to answer those questions about how we look at essays and personal statements. So certainly feel free to reach out in that situation. And now I'm going to hand it off to my colleague Bobby. He's going to talk about some different examples of kinds of creative essays that you might look for.
All right, thank you so much, Scott. So different types of examples of essay topics could include something like poetry. So if you are a creative writer and you have created some poems, that's definitely something that you're able to put as your personal essay or personal statement, or even just add it into what your personal statement is about. Creative nonfiction. So this could be a creative true story, right? So that means that you could kind of make up a story, but the facts are all still there. Fictional narrative is going to be a story that is not true. So it could be something that you have fantasized about, daydreamed about, have always wanted to do, or something that someone else may have talked about. So fictional narratives could still tell a story. It's just not necessarily true. And so the facts might be a little bit different. And then an allegory is going to be a story within a story. So typically it's going to point towards like some moral underlying reason. So an example of this could be two neighbors that are throwing rocks at each other. And obviously, they're in a quarrel, but it actually could mean two countries that are at war with each other. So something like that could be an allegory, a great essay topic as well. So in the next slide, we're going to go over the guidelines. So guidelines for your essay or personal statement. So proofread. Make sure you proofread. Lizzie alluded to it earlier. Have someone else proofread your work. So they see it through a different lens. They're able to see, the different grammar, punctuation, those types of things as well. Make sure that everything flows. The paragraphs flow together. The sentences make sense. So just making sure that you proofread, using the spell checker, using things like Grammarly, which is a cool website that you can submit your papers and stuff to. And again, have somebody else that is a friend, and maybe somebody that's not super close to you, proofread as well. That way they can give you that criticism and constructive feedback. Be authentic. So make sure that you're not making up too much stuff. Don't put a lot of fluff in there. So just make sure that you are very authentic with your writing. It's all about you. So don't necessarily write a whole lot about other people unless they have impacted your life and it's the main reason why you're creating this essay. Address the prompt. So if the prompt is tell us about a hero in your life, and you talk about what you like to do on the weekends, it's completely different, right? So make sure that you address the prompt. Many times, if you don't address the prompt correctly, then your essay won't even be read, and that could affect your admission decision. So make sure you follow these guidelines. I'm sure there's a lot more. The prompts typically, if you're given a prompt, will outline all the guidelines. So the word limits and all that good stuff too. So follow the guidelines, very, very important. And with this, I'm going to actually pass it over to my colleague, Liz. We're going to start our university introduction. So we're going to spend about 1 to 2 minutes talking to you about our each individual institutions, give you some information, and then move on to the questions and answers after that.
Thanks, Bobby. So again, I work at Minnesota State University, Mankato as the Assistant Director for International Recruitment. Minnesota State Mankato is a public university enrolling around 14,000 students on our campus. Currently, we host around 1,200 international students from 97 different countries around the world. And students come to us mainly for undergraduate programs, but we also have an intensive English program for any students who are looking to develop English language skills before going into university study. We also have around 80 master's and doctoral programs, but our programs for undergraduate and graduate programs range from arts all the way to zoology and everything in between. Some of our popular programs that international students choose to study at Mankato include aviation, STEM programs with information technology, computer science, engineering, civil engineering. We also have pre-professional health programs as well as along with many other programs in our College of Business, Social and Behavioral Sciences, and Arts and Humanities. One of the aspects for our admission review process is we have what's called guaranteed admission, which means if you meet minimum admission requirements, you're guaranteed acceptance to the university. So we're actually a university that does not require a personal statement or essay. If you choose to submit this, of course, it's not going to be counted against your application, but it is not required. Every international student who applies and is accepted to Minnesota State University Mankato automatically receives the International Maverick Scholarship. So this is a scholarship that's currently valued at around $7,000, and it's applied towards your tuition each year that you maintain this scholarship. So it's something you can keep until you finish your program at the university. So that's one of the ways that we help keep the cost affordable for international students. But there's so many different ways to get involved once you are on campus at Mankato, as well as across the state in Minnesota. On our university campus, you can get involved through many different student organizations and clubs, as well as one of our excellent research programs on campus as well. Students from any academic program can participate in undergraduate research. So if you have any research interests or ideas, there are resources to help you on our university campus. And many students go on to do excellent internships as well as optional practical training opportunities within the state of Minnesota upon completion of their degree program. So that's a brief overview. If you have any specific questions about Mankato, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to pass it back over to my colleague, Bobby.
All right. Thank you so much again, Liz. And hello again, everyone. I'm Bobby Brannigan, the Associate Director for International Admissions. Like I said, at Embry, Riddle, Aeronautical University. Actually work at our Daytona Beach campus. We do have another campus in Prescott, Arizona. And we also have Worldwide Online. So we were established in 1926. We're the world's oldest, largest, fully accredited institution that focuses on aerospace and aviation. Our campuses are pretty much accessible from anywhere around the world. So our institution focuses on STEM programs. We're well known for our engineering majors, including aerospace engineering, civil, computer, electrical, mechanical, you name it, we pretty much almost got it. So we do offer aeronautical science, which is our professional pilot program, with over 130 instructional aircraft on our residential campuses here in the United States. We also have helicopter pilot training as well. So if you're not interested in becoming an airplane pilot, you can definitely become a helicopter pilot too. We do have many programs that are housed in the first of its kind College of Security and Intelligence. And we do have business programs as well. So we do offer over 80 degree programs from the associate level to the bachelor, master, and PhD or doctoral level. Our student to faculty ratio is about 24:1, as you could see on the slide. So the small class sizes allow you to engage in that practical knowledge and get that added support from your faculty. We do have over 100 labs of facilities, including such things as aircraft simulators, spaceflight operations, and even games and simulation. Our students are very involved on campus. We have over 300 different student clubs and organizations on our campuses. We do have students from all 50 states and over 148 different countries around the world. So we're very diverse. We're about 19% international in terms of our international student population on our campuses in the U.S. We are guaranteed admission, just like Liz at our Minnesota State Mankato. We are test optional. We don't require the SAT or ACT, but we do require it for merit-based scholarship consideration. So with that, accompanied by your high school GPA, you're eligible for our partial merit-based scholarship. If you don't have access to the test or testing center, definitely work with us one-on-one. We can see how you're still eligible for a scholarship. And then with that, I'm actually going to pass it over to my colleague, UC at Stony Brook.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Hello, everyone. My name is UC, and I represent Stony Brook University, the State University of New York. From Florida, I'm going to have you fly with me all the way to New York. So Stony Brook is located in the beautiful Long Island, as you can see on the screen there. So we are a large research comprehensive institution located in the beautiful Long Island. As you can see, it's in the corner of the screen. We're surrounded by a lot of beaches, very known for a lot of beaches. We're only 3 miles away from the North Shore and a few miles away from the South Shore. Look at famous beaches like Jones Beach, Fire Island, and so on and so forth. So, as a large research comprehensive institution, the research is in our name. We are very known for it. So, a lot of students will be involved, a lot of research from day one. What does that mean? Is that when students graduate from our institution, it's only a degree. It's a degree plus a publication. The research will be attached to your name. In terms of rankings, Stony Brook University is ranked among top 1% in the world. We're also ranked among top 25 public universities in the United States, and we've been responsible for a lot of research inventions, faculty-led inventions. To include just to mention just one, where we've been responsible for the invention of with the home bird actually of the MRI bird for the MRI technology. So we can see it actually when you come to our campus. It's actually literally in our chemistry building. We have more than 200 academic programs. They're all housed in what we call colleges or schools, which is basically departments. So College of Arts and Sciences, anything about physics, psychology, biology, chemistry, etc. We also have College of Engineering and Applied Sciences. That's where we have all the engineering programs and applied sciences programs like computer science, applied math and statistics, etc. But these are all our engineering programs are ABET accredited programs. You get 100% engineering degree. We also have business, we have journalism, we have School of Marine Atmospheric Sciences, and we are now also accepting applications for next year. So for fall 2022, basically there are two very basic, simple 3 steps. The first step would be submitting the common application, which include an essay, and I hope we really taken some tips from today's essay session. And the second step will be submitting your English proficiency test either through Duolingo, IELTS, or TOEFL. For TOEFL, 80 is the minimum score. For Duolingo, it's 105 the minimum score, and for the IELTS is 6.5. We do not require the SAT and the ACT anymore, so it's optional because we are a test optional institution. So basically, it's up to you to decide whether you want to submit it or not. So if you do not submit an SAT, you won't be penalized. We will still be considered for scholarships. So in terms of scholarships, we do have 3 types of scholarships at Stony Brook University. We have the merit-based scholarship that is guaranteed. That is, you will be evaluated for automatically when you apply. We also have the You Are Welcome Here scholarship, which gives eligible students 50% of the tuition fees covered for 4 years, which is worth $12,000. We also have the need-based scholarship for admitted students. So all they need to do is just submit an email to us justifying your reasons why you want to apply for you need a need-based scholarship. So all of these scholarships are renewable every year, so it's for 4 years. So that's something to know about. So this is a short overview, but we are a home of more than 26,000 students and more than 4,600 international students. So very diverse. You won't be alone, and we do have a lot of students from Russia or Ukraine and all around, and it's been very successful. So with this, I'll hand it over back to my colleague. Thank you.
All right, thank you, UC. Now we are going to travel from the east coast of the United States, New York, where Yusuf's institution is, out to the west in Pepperdine University. So once again, my name is Scott McClama. I work in international admissions at Pepperdine University, and we are located in Malibu, California. If you're unfamiliar with the geography of it, Malibu is part of the Los Angeles area of California. So it's in what we consider the greater Los Angeles area. It's about 30 to 40 minutes away from the central part of LA. But as you can see, it's not in an urban area of the city. It's in a very beautiful place. In fact, right on the Pacific Ocean. So there's beaches that are within walking distance nearby. And right behind the university is the Santa Monica Mountains, which is part of the National Park Service. Lots of great hiking and mountain biking trails. So it's a great place for those that love the outdoors. Pepperdine is a small private Christian university. And by small, it means it has around 3,500 students at the undergraduate level. So my institution is the smallest of all the 6 of ours represented here today. It is a liberal arts university, so there's a wide range of different things that are on offer for as far as majors goes. So, things like humanities, the arts, but also natural sciences and business, which is in fact our most popular major, business administration. You can see the other 4 of our most popular majors listed there on the slide: psychology, biology, economics, and sports medicine. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of the different kind of things that are offered at the university. For the sciences, we also offer honors research programs in the sciences and also in political science and psychology. And these are programs that students can apply for to go a little bit further in their education. They work with a smaller cohort of students, and they work really close with faculty as well in those programs. Most of our students will do an internship of some kind. We do have some formal partnerships with companies here in the Los Angeles area that students do, but a lot of students actually find their internships through the relationships they have with their professors. So, our class sizes are very small. As you see, there are 19 students. And this is great for the kind of professional development of students as well, and great for networking and helping lead to some of those internship and career opportunities. As far as international students go, we have 11% of our student population is international, and from over 60 different countries all over the world. So that's a little bit about Pepperdine. I'm going to hand it off now to my colleague, Rashad, to talk about UCI. Thank you.
Appreciate it there, Scott. So what we're going to do here, we don't have our slide here.
Sorry.
Why don't you go ahead, Chris, and I'll go last. Or Orange Coast College. Go ahead, Chris.
Chris, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
go
so
ahead.
I'm right here. Hi, everyone. So my name is Christopher Toribio. I represent Orange Coast College in California. So I know today's topic was writing about personal statement, and I just wanted to share not every university and college will require this for students, including my college. As a 2-year community college, we do not require the essay or personal statement, and we primarily is open enrollment, so an opportunity for students to enroll at a university and college or want higher education can enroll at a 2-year community college. Community colleges are very popular in the US. In fact, it makes up of 1/4 of the total number of colleges and universities in the United States. In fact, 50% of American students will begin their undergraduate education at a community college, and about 96,000 international students, including students from Ukraine, are currently at community colleges right now. Now, what is a community college? Now, for you to obtain a bachelor's degree, you need to complete 4 years of education. A community college will offer the first 2 years of your undergraduate degree. Then you have an opportunity to transfer to many universities, in fact, almost all universities, after you complete your 2 years of study, which you earn an associate's degree. And there's many different benefits. And one of the biggest benefits really is the costs of attendance. Community colleges are typically a lot more affordable. And one of the main reasons why students come to community colleges is because of the cost. Another reason is the open enrollment policy. So for example, if you are that type of student that is looking to get into a very selective university, but may not have, let's say, the holistic experiences to write an effective personal statement and essay, we will provide that to you at a community college, including Orange Coast College. At Orange Coast College, which is located in Costa Mesa between Los Angeles and San Diego, and actually really close to UCI, so really excited to have our UCI representative here, is the fact that we offer more than 135 different programs, including both academic, vocational, club activities, opportunities to get involved in leadership. And we're also the only community college in Southern California with on-campus student housing. So if you want that resident life experience, we do offer that as well. Now, most importantly, when you're choosing a college and university, is that the university or college has really great support for international students. In fact, Orange Coast College is one of the leading community colleges for the enrollment of international students at 1,400. So we do have robust, dedicated services for international students, including transfer counseling to help you find a university to transfer to, which also includes essay writing workshops to help you with that application process, and also navigating scholarships for transfer students. If you want more information about Orange Coast College, please contact us. Follow us on Instagram at OCC Internationals, which is our central hub for the latest information about our school. And I'll kick it off to Rashad to close it out. My neighbor, literally 10 minutes from OCC at the University of California, Irvine.
All right, thanks again, everyone. I think Scott's going to get my slide up. For some reason, I wasn't here, so I'll just go ahead and go on. So I'm here with University of California, Irvine. So UCI is in the greater Los Angeles area, just like Scott and Chris. I am located just south of Orange Coast College and about a surfboard's ride down from Malibu, where Scott is. So UCI is a top 10 public university in the United States. We are a part of the University of California system with 9 other campuses, as you can see on the map here. We are a large public research institution. We have about more than 35,000 students. So a lot of research opportunities for students. We're actually designated as one of the as a top university dedicated towards research as well. So you can see that about 73% of the students, undergraduate students who attend University of California, Irvine, undertake some kind of research during the time that they're undergraduate. And also 73% of our classes have fewer than 40 students. We have about 150 plus majors and minors, so a lot to choose from. You can also see that we have a really, really safe campus. About 15 years in running, we've been one of the safest campus in the United States. One of the great things about UCI, again, going back to the research, we actually have now 4 Nobel Prize winners that some of them are people who have graduated from UCI just yesterday, actually. We had one of our alumni win the Nobel Prize in chemistry. So that's definitely one of the things we're very, very proud of. We also have for students who are retained from their first year to their second year, about 92% of them return for their second year. So that's a really, really great number. A lot of times colleges are very proud of some of those numbers as well. Our 4-year graduation rate is around 73%. Our 6-year graduation rate is around 85%. So definitely we have a lot to offer you as a student who will be coming from abroad. We have about 6,800 international students that are on our campus, and about 200,000 alumni who have graduated and gotten very, very great jobs within the different tech companies, business companies. And speaking of which, we have about a third of all Fortune 500 companies that are located in the city of Irvine, where our college obviously is. So that's a couple of information just about UCI. And so we're just going to go to the next slide here, and you can go to the next slide there, and we'll be able to see some of our contact information and such. So if you would like to screenshot this information here, you can contact us directly. And if there's any other questions that you have after this as well.
Great, and so that's it for our presentation. I want to invite our guests, or our hosts, I should say, from EducationUSA back and ask if they had any questions for us.
Yeah, we have some questions from our audience. Thanks for asking. So the first one is, what differences has essays for graduate programs, like master's degree, from essays for undergraduate programs?
Great. Yeah. So the difference between undergrad and graduate essays, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good question. So I know most of us work primarily with undergraduate students, but we can kind of speak to that. More often with graduate programs, they're looking for the student to talk about their specific field and maybe their expertise in this field, why they want to go into this field, why they would be qualified. to study this particular field at the graduate level. Whereas at the undergraduate, a lot of times, as I mentioned, especially for liberal arts institutions, we want this essay more to be getting to know who the student is. So I know, at my institution, we're not necessarily as interested, for the essay purpose of knowing, what does the student want to study and why do they want to study it. We just want to know about the student, and we want to know, a little bit more about them, things that we wouldn't know in their application. So that's kind of the main difference, I would say, is, again, it does kind of differ from institution to institution, and you gotta know that. But one of the main differences would be that. So graduate, very specific to the field. Undergraduate, more kind of about who the student is as a person. If any of my other colleagues want to kind of jump in and share.
I'll just add to that too. For graduate students, oftentimes there's an emphasis placed on your research interest or field work. So in your essays, or at least in some portion of the application, you may need to indicate if there is a professor or a faculty member of your department that you're interested in working with, who may be studying and conducting research in a similar area of interest that you have. So that is really that time to emphasize your professional goals as well as your research interests. And that's a big difference as well between the graduate and undergraduate essays.
Okay, and we have one more question. Does Speakers Universities have degree program for drug regulatory affairs? Maybe you have something special to advise when writing an essay for such a degree. I will repeat: drug regulatory affairs.
We actually have a similar degree. It's called Drug and Alcohol Studies. So it's related to regulatory affairs, as well as working with individuals on a social level who may be struggling with addiction, and along with public policy. So there's a lot of different directions that students can take that program. It's very interdisciplinary. And so if students are interested, we do offer that as a Bachelor of Science degree. For that particular program, we do not require a statement of purpose or essay for admission. So they can apply directly to that program. No essay is required. However, once a student is in the program, they can apply for additional scholarship funding. At that time, if they're applying for scholarships, then they would be required to write a statement of purpose or interest. So they would need to address why they have chosen that particular field of study. If there was any incident or history that maybe motivated them to study in that program, what's their motivation, because it is such a unique program on our campus. That's something that they could address within that essay. But again, that would just be for scholarships, not for actual admission to the program. And then I don't know if my colleagues have similar programs on their campus. Feel free to share if it's different.
I would, in just describing the actual major, it definitely sounds like more of a general degree path in public health. So that is definitely, if that is going to be something that that you want to go into, public health would definitely be very common at many campuses. Also, health informatics might also be a different field as well, kind of going into a little bit more data science, going into different health, as well as like any ethics as well. So a lot of those different majors are going to be very, very common at US universities, and there are going to be a lot of different courses that are going to that you're going to be able to take within the major or concentration that you're going to be undertaking at your college or university. So definitely some of the things as far as the essay is concerned those are things that you're going to want to specifically reference when you are looking to go into a school of public health. Definitely the part of health informatics or anything else related to that course of study that you want to go into, and being able to mention some of those things. So,
Okay. And also we have the last question here, like two last questions, but they are pretty the same. So how were the most impressive essays you have seen structured and stylized? And can you give examples of the prompts that impressed you so much that you still remember them? So how the essays were structured and stylized, and maybe some prompts that you might share, if it's possible, of course.
Yeah, I'll speak to the ones that the one that was like memorable that impressed upon me, because I brought it up in the presentation. So I'll kind of share. There's one that I remember. There was a student from Vietnam that talked about her experience growing up, and she had a brother who has autism, a younger brother, and so she talked about her experience. Where she really had to help be a caregiver for her brother, and it kind of when she was younger, she really kind of resented that because there was a loss of like her freedom a lot of times in having to do that, and but then there was a moment in her life when she kind of realized, and because she kind of resented her mom as well for putting her in that position and asking her to do these things and take your brother here and do this. And but there was a moment in her life when she kind of realized that that her mom was actually the one that was making a much greater sacrifice and doing a lot more, and she really kind of changed and felt like she was being selfish, and that they were all a family and they were all in it together, and and she really kind of changed and turned it around and started to really appreciate her mother more, and then in fact started finding joy in taking care of her brother in that way. So that's one that that really stuck with me for sure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And what was the first part of the question? I'll let another one of my colleagues kind of step in and answer that.
Yeah, the first part was how the essays were structured and stylized. If someone else wants to share, that's fine.
Let me go ahead and share real quick. I don't have a specific essay or personal statement that really stuck out to me, but just as an admissions officer and also one that does help students write their personal statement, there are really three things that I'm looking for in terms of structure that makes it my job a lot easier as an admission officer. You have to also put into context that admissions officers are reading thousands and thousands of personal statements and essays, and we have very limited time in order to review them. So one is that they answered the question, like they answered the prompt that was being asked from them. That's number one. Number two is that they provided context to the situation, because I don't know you as a student. So for example, if you're going to write that you're going to be a president of a class, you can't just state that. You have to give us context, because many students are presidents of a club. So not necessarily just saying the title of what you've been involved in, but giving me context of what that means, how selective it is, and what it means in terms of serving community and also demonstrations of leadership. The third thing, most importantly, is you're talking about yourself. I know we mentioned this in the presentation, is that this personal statement or essay has to be all about you. It is an opportunity for you to share yourself as a student and as a person. So really those three things are the most important: that you answer the question, that you provided context, and it's all about you. So regardless of what the topic is, those three things really need to be addressed in a personal statement.
The last thing that I would say, in addition to what Chris just got finished saying, and what Scott alluded to, is reflection. Being able to explain exactly what happened to you, what your story is, but also reflecting what you actually learned in that specific situation. And really being able to either creatively or very plainly indicate what that was how you reflected, what you learned, and what you now bring to the table as a result of that situation.
Okay. Thank you so much for your answers. We don't have any more questions. One of our viewers, however, said that great presentation. You're working as one amazing team. So that's truly cool. And I highly appreciate you being here with us this evening in Ukraine, your morning. And the information that you shared with our audience was truly, truly necessary for them, since now it's had time for them to start working on their application and maybe essays. So one more time, thank you so much on behalf of the Education USA Ukraine team.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.